Hello all you action figures turned sentient. I'm King Link and I'm taking a last look and review of Action Henk. That's Henk. H-E-N-K. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that one, but I'm going with Henk anyways. I'll keep my intro short this time. Before we begin, if you enjoy this review, consider subscribing. I appreciate it and your support will help me get more and newer games to show off and discuss. So, Action Henk. It's an odd game, and you can already see me in game running through it, and in reality, this is really the whole game. You start at the start line and run to the right to reach the goal. It's a simple concept, and honestly, the game doesn't get that much deeper. There's difficulty, but not more depth in the gameplay. It's a game that's mostly about momentum, jumps, slides, and that's about it. But a good game doesn't have to be complex. You know, Super Mario only has 2 buttons, and it's a classic. Super Meat Boy as well also has a limited button set. It's really what you do with those buttons that's going to matter, and in Action Henk's case, that's going to be the big factor for this game. You see, this game is all about speedrunning, trying to get through a level as fast as possible. I'm trying to get a gold on an old level here, and you'll see me struggle quite a bit. And maybe succeed. I don't think the video is going to be that long, but we'll see. It's not very different than a game that I rather enjoy, Trials, which is a bicycle version of this. And the 2 games are similar. The difference here is that there's a decent amount of fault tolerance on Trials, where top players can beat times by quite a bit. In Trials, it's all about staying on the bike. In Action Henk, it's assumed that you're going to get through the levels in one go. You see, dying even once often means you won't medal at all, and any pause will hurt you for sure. But beyond that, there's gold times for each of the 3 medals, 4 if you count rainbows, but that's a bit of another story. Gold is a really tight time, and you'll see me fighting for it here, but silver and bronze are only about a second or 2 behind it, so just beating the level is never enough here. You need to master it, and the times are a bit tight. That rainbow medal that I mentioned is actually above gold, and it's usually only about a second faster, and so that time is even tighter, and it's about the perfection there. So really, gold is 1 second slower than almost perfection. That's a bit of a problem. The real problem though with Action Henk is it doesn't want to teach you its game. It teaches you the slide mechanic on the trigger button, as well as a jump button, and that's about it. Everything else has to be picked up elsewhere. I started playing this round of the game here, and I noticed that if I jumped at the bottom of a ramp, I actually shot off faster. That doesn't make the most sense, but it's a rule, and unfortunately it's not one that's taught. That's kind of the standard gameplay here. This is the key difference in my mind between Trials and Action Henk. Trials actually has a really well done tutorial that unlocks over time, so you don't have to master the advanced moves just to get into the main game, so you can try out the basics. Action Henk doesn't do that because it doesn't really have a tutorial. It'll give you harder and harder challenges, but it doesn't teach you what you need to know about mastering those challenges. People will have those answers online, and maybe trial and error will get you there, but I hate games that feel like the community will make their tutorial. I'm sorry, that doesn't work for any game. Outside of that, I was able to puzzle my way through most of this game. Most of the time I just raced the gold ghost, getting silver and bronze while following its trail, but the problem there is it doesn't show much. It's hard to see its actions and try to figure out the steps it's taking, but even worse, it's not able to tell you what steps it's not taking, so you can go just a bit faster than it. You need to beat the ghost to even get the gold medal. Still, it's a good experience while that piece lasts. Taking a step back though, we can look at the graphics here, and the graphics here are good, not great. You can see them as I'm playing, and I'm able to reasonably focus on the foreground, but the background is a bit noisy as well. There's a variety of levels and locations, and that's kinda cool, but they're all about average. Sadly, the actual level that I'm running on is always built out of the same toys, and each zone doesn't have a unique building block. At least, it's not unique enough. In addition, the story in the game is rather weak. We do see a scene at the beginning where Action Henk gets his Toy of the Year award stolen from him, and then we get 4 other cutscenes in the game, so 5 cutscenes total. But the graphics in those cutscenes are rather horrible. You can see them in the first look. Overall, don't expect much from this game in the story department because they really only surround a few important levels, and they're both boss levels. It's really bad in my opinion. Now there's other small pieces here. The menu is a little bit clunky, the FPS display in the video setting is perfect and really one that I wish every game did, and a few more things. Those are in the written review, so feel free to check that out if you're interested. However, to finish this game off, let's go back to the gameplay for one more piece I didn't mention before. I don't have much more to say, but there is a hookshot mechanic that works rather well on some stages, but it's a perfect example of how this game takes challenge. Some stages are fine. A few stages will require a precision shot. A very few stages will require high precision. You need to hit a small target that's about the size of a player exactly right as you're running full speed. And you can see me struggle in this playthrough. That's what the game really is about. You need very high precision to beat the game, and the lack of the ability to break the stage up into smaller pieces will frustrate you. I know I know how to beat the stage, but I'm missing just a few jumps by a couple frames that will ruin this time for me. That's really what Action Henk comes down to, precision, and for me, I'm not a fan. I do know that there are some speedrunners who love this game, and honestly, kudos to them. I wasn't going to recommend this game, but after watching them and listening to a few of them, I started to see what they saw. And okay, in the speedrunning vein, it's good. If anything, that's why I'm recommending this game. But the thing is, for the average gamer, it's only decent. It's not a bad game, but I doubt you'll find this on your favorite list ever. Overall, I'm giving Action Henk a 3 out of 5. Like I said, speedrunners will love this game. For them, give this a 4 or a 5, it's definitely a little bit better than I'm saying. So if you love to obsess over time trials and all, this is for you. But personally, I don't think this is for me. And I think a majority of gamers out there will find this game just a bit lacking. It's a shame because I think the concept is good, but I think the graphics and lack of anything beyond the speedrunners, such as voice acting, narration, and even just the overall repetition required for most of the levels in this game, turned me off a bit. I wish it was a slight bit better, a slight bit different, and I could have had a completely different experience. And really, that's Action Henk. Now next up, we have a timely game. Well, it's an issue that lasted almost 10 years now. Who controls the news? We're going to dive into it with Headliners, a short game, but I think there's enough for a small review there. Until then, I'm King Link, and again, thank you for watching.